Hi and welcome back. Today I'm going to wallpaper this wall, which is a very small wall, a couple of awkward bits, awkward corners and things. It's got two doors, so what we're going to do is we're going to wallpaper from the very middle. I like to talk about the middle, but in this case it's quite important that we do wallpaper from the middle, because if you start up here, then when you get to here the wallpaper pattern might be sort of not, a bit lopsided. So the best thing to do is to actually start right in the middle, and then you get a lovely sort of symmetry between the doors. So the important thing is to find out where we're going to start, because you don't really want to cut this pattern off. This is the bold pattern. This is a very beautiful wallpaper from Farrow & Ball. So we've got this feature here, which is basically the start of the bold pattern, and we have to work out where it's going to start. There's going to be a cornice up here, so we have to take it down a few centimetres, and we also have to mark the middle of the wall. As it's extremely important to get the wallpaper right in the middle, we have to measure between the two door frames. It's 51 centimetres, so that's 25.5. So we mark that in the middle there and double check on the other side to make sure, and then we put on the laser. You can use a plumb line if you like, the laser is important, and then we mark the ceiling so that we have the central line, and you can always put a piece of tape up there if you like. It's makes it easier to remember, and you might not want to put a pencil mark on the ceiling. So just a piece of tape, absolutely perfect. The next part is measuring the height. Now most walls, or most ceilings are 240 high, but this one is a little bit shorter. So if we take it from the floor, not from the skirting, and measure it, we take the mark there, which is 2 meters, and then take it up again, it's 2 meters and 34. And we have to remember that. You can even write it down, make your life a little bit easier. Right, the next stage is actually measuring the wallpaper. Now remember, it's 2 meters and 34 in length, and this is quite a small table, so some people prefer to do it on the floor, but if the floor is a little bit dirty, the last thing you want is to get dirt on the wallpaper. So what I've done is I've got a little piece of masking tape handy, which is, I'll show you why. First of all, we lay out the wallpaper and get something heavy, like a couple of heavy books, about the history of Scotland, and then, excuse the accent, we measure out 2 meters and put a little bit of mark there. It's not a very sticky piece of tape, so it won't damage the paper, and then just take the other 34 centimeters. You can do it a little bit longer if you like, and then you just make a mark with the scissors or a knife, as that's the most convenient, and just cut there. And then we know exactly where we're going to cut the wallpaper. Now we've made our little mark on the wallpaper, so now we can take it, fold it over and cut it. And then we have our first piece ready for painting. Right, now the next stage is the pasting of the wallpaper. I've got something here to keep the wallpaper down here, and something here to stop the wallpaper from curling up, which it is prone to do. And if you don't have something here to stop it, it can roll up onto itself and you get glue on the wrong side of the paper. Now we've got a ready mixed paste, which is for wallpaper. And what you do is you start from the middle and you work your way to the edges. So be quite liberal with it, and make sure you don't get any on the side. And to do that, you just take the wallpaper slightly over the side of the table. And then you take it and you slide it over to the other side. And you take it again, to the edges. This is a wipeable wallpaper, but the less you have to wipe, the better. Then fold the wallpaper over. And move it up. And then just continue till you get to the other end. Don't be afraid to be liberal with the glue. Sometimes the more the better, as it needs a little time to soak into the wallpaper. When you finish doing that, fold it over again carefully and leave it to soak for a couple of minutes. While the wallpaper is soaking, get the laser or your plumb line and get it so it's going right down the middle through the line that we made on the ceiling right down to the bottom. It's very important to keep this on the whole time. It will be quite quick. You can turn it off as soon as the wallpaper's been put up. Now to hang the actual wallpaper. You let it drop down slowly. Slide it up. I forgot to mention, it's very important to size the walls first. Then you can slide the wallpaper along a little bit afterwards. We made a mark there for the cornice, so this is perfect. And then just make sure that the laser is going right down the middle of the wallpaper. Move it along until we get absolutely sure. And then we can drop the last piece down. And then use a brush or a spatula to smooth out any bubbles. I like to use the brush for the bubbles and the spatula for the edges. We have a couple of bits here, so what we do is get a pair of scissors, or you can use a knife, and just take it there, snip it, make sure you snip it down rather than up, otherwise you're going to have a gap. We have a couple of awkward bits here. You can use scissors or you can use a knife. You can make a little mark of a pencil and make a dot here and cut, or you can just use a knife and then cut that way very quickly without damaging the frame of the door. Just do it as do it inwards so that you don't have any gaps, and you can just push the wallpaper around the frame. When it comes to trimming, make sure that you do it quite soon, because the wallpaper paste can dry quite quickly, and also make sure that you have a sharp blade. and pushed into the edges with the straight edge like this. As a putty knife, a large putty knife. Take the knife down at as sharp an angle as you can so there's no tearing, and try to do it reasonably quickly. Then you could use the spatula just to make absolutely sure everything is absolutely perfect, no bubbles. Then get a cloth or a sponge and wipe the excess glue which you'll find on the door frame. Just wipe that off as soon as you can before it starts to dry. Beginning of your future wall, the perfect symmetry between the two door frames. Now we just have to do the top bit, which is very simple compared to this bit. Okay, as this some wallpaper has got a repeat pattern with no drop, what we can do is just take the roll and match it up like that, and then you can see the continuum along the top of the door frame. So just put a little bit of tape there, which I have handy, and another piece there, so that we don't make any mistakes, and basically just cut the 4 pieces that we need on the table. We've got these 4 pieces here to paste. It's a little bit awkward because you could get glue on the table, so what you do is you take it to the corner, find something to weigh down one end of it, try to find something that isn't too sharp, otherwise you can damage the back of the wallpaper. Take the brush with the glue and paste it up to the edge and over the side. When you've put enough glue on it, simply turn it round. This side doesn't need a weight on it because it's got the glue which will weigh it down. And do the same on the other corner. and then just take it over and let it soak for a couple of minutes. Now that we've glued the back of the wallpaper and let it soak for a couple of minutes, we can now put it up. Just slide it up against it, move it up or down until you're happy with the join, and then get the spatula, push the glue up and down, and then cut it as soon as possible, because if you don't, the wallpaper can tear. Make sure you have a fresh blade that's nice and sharp. Push down firmly, but not too firm, otherwise you could make the wallpaper slide down a little bit. And then take the knife along firmly but gently. And keep the straight edge here when you remove the paper, just in case there's any tearing. And then get a cloth or a sponge, and once again wipe the excess glue from the door frame. And don't worry about the gap here, because as I said before, there's going to be a cornice which will be coming down to about here, which is why we took the pattern just there. Now we have this last little bit in the corner, so I've cut a small piece that will fit very nicely. Use the spatula to push it down. Take it into the corner, and then we have a much smaller straight edge that will fit in the corner. Make sure you have a nice clean blade. Sorry about the angle, I'll try to make it so you can see. Just push it in. All the way, get the slightly wider blade for the rest of it. Push it firmly into the corner and take it along steadily. And then we have this beautiful finished feature wall. Just wipe away any glue. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching.